Angry guy here. And in another side of the times, women are furious with the men they didn't want. So women are furious with the men they didn't want. This is absolutely insane, but it is absolutely true. So women are absolutely furious with the men that they did not want. They are basically calling men sellouts. For example, I saw this video from mediocre tutorials, and this is a popular content creator. I found this pretty interesting. So this one is actually titled "Black Women Call Black Men Sellouts for Not Dating Them as an Excuse to Not Work on Themselves." So this is actually pretty interesting. So I actually like Donald Glover. Donald Glover, I thought he was pretty funny back in the day. I used to watch before he even became famous, like really famous. I was watching him here on YouTube. He was a part of this group called the Mystery Machine, I think, and they were basically a comedy group. And like, some of them went on to do big things. One of them went on to be on SNL, and one of the guys that was involved, at least partially. And it's just really, really interesting. And Donald, of course, did so many amazing things. He was a writer first off, he was a comedian. So in addition to like doing sketch comedy, he was a comedian. He became a pretty popular comedian. He also then went on to become a writer for 30 Rock, which won at least one or more Emmys. That was the first time he was pictured holding an Emmy at the award show. Then after that, he also appeared on, I believe, on SNL a little bit. He did make an appearance on SNL. And then he went on to develop his singing brand. He became Childish Gambino and started putting out music. This guy's career is pretty damn interesting. Then from that, he really began working on his. Well, let me take a step back. Before Childish Gambino, he also starred in the television series Community, which a lot of people loved, and that was with Dan Harmon, I believe, one of the creators of Rick and Morty. And then he went and became Childish Gambino. He got the name from like I don't know, like some machine that like spit out the name, and his career took off. He began putting out different songs, and there was a song that he made called like Year 3000. I absolutely loved that song. And there was another one called Feels Like Summer. And then, of course, his most popular song, I think his most famous song, was This Is America. And I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. But again, I will definitely give him credit for his artistic talent. And then, of course, he went on to create a show called Atlanta. Okay? I want you to look at this guy on the left. Look at how he looks on the left. This is what he looks like on the left, right? And this is not a guy. I want y'all to ask yourselves, this does not look like the kind of guy that a lot of black women are going to go for. Even a lot of white women aren't going to go for this guy. All right? I'm just going to be honest with you. He looks like a nerd. Looks like a total freaking geek. And it's just interesting because so many women, this is the way mediocre, how do you pronounce this? Mediocre tutorials and reviews puts it. He labels it black women will ignore men like this because I'll turn off the closed captions. Black women will ignore men like this because he's too weird, lame, nerdy, then see him with a woman like this and all of a sudden label him a sellout. And it's absolutely insane. Here he is, post CBS, he's posing with his Emmys. He's posing with his Emmys, and it's just absolutely crazy. It's like women in America are insane. They've lost their damn minds. They absolutely have. They don't want a man when he has nothing. They don't want a man when he's coming up. So even when Donald Glover was coming up, they still didn't want him. All right. So even this is this crazy thing. When he was just some dude making videos on YouTube, a poor college student making videos on YouTube, or just after he graduated making videos on YouTube. They didn't want his ass when he was on Community, right? And he was a celebrity at that point. He was on television, and he already had his comedy career. They still didn't want his ass. I'm just being so honest with y'all. I'm being so honest with y'all. And then he started making music as Childish Gambino, and he was still too weird for them, and they still didn't want his ass. And now he's done, but they started to notice him at least. And now this guy is an award-winning. An award-winning. He's a musician. He's a comedian. He's a writer. I mean, he's a singer. A singer. He's done it. He's pretty much done it all at this point. And now he's a sellout. But y'all, but you said you didn't want him. You said he was undesirable and unwanted. So wait a minute. You want him, but you want him to be your come up. Oh, you want him when you want him to be your come up. That just shows you the disposability of men in society today. You see, when men have nothing and are nothing, a woman doesn't want them. But the moment that a man has something, all right, she immediately wants, even if she doesn't like him, even if she does not personally like the guy, she believes that she is entitled to his utility. It's amazing because we tell incels all the time, you are not entitled to sex. You are not entitled to a woman's body. But women in society believe that they are entitled to a man's wealth. They are entitled to a man's wealth, his prestige, his resources. So they can have it. They should be able to have him whenever they want him. And they somehow believe that just based around things like skin color, they should be able to lay claim to a man. So if he's the same color as they are, that makes them entitled to him? What the flying freak is that? What kind of nonsense is this? These women are insane. And let me make it very clear. It's all women today. It's all women in the U.S. right now. It's all of them. All right? The smartest move any man can make is to walk away, go overseas, get yourself a Filipino or a Latina, or get both. Get both. All right? Because I'm looking for both. I want the Filipina to be my wife. I want a Filipina as my wife, and I want my Latina to have babies with her, and I have her in another country. And and I have a second family with her, and that's what I really want. I want a Filipina as my main wife because she has good culture, has really good culture, and then I want to have a Latina in another country, maybe Brazil, and maybe in Brazil or Colombia, and I'll take care of my wife as my wife, and then I have my other woman, in another country, and she's having babies for me. And, I just kind of jump back and forth. I visit my kid. I spend most of my time with my wife, my wife, a Filipina. But, I'll go back and forth and see how things are going with my other woman in another country. And I'm just telling y'all, like, this is really what y'all should focus on. Forget about American women. Forget about them because they don't value you. Go and get yourself a Filipina, or go and get yourself a Latina, or better yet, get yourself both. All right? Because you're worth it. Because you're worth it, bro. Because you're worth it. All right? Get yourself both. You don't have to settle for one. You don't have to settle for one. And get yourself both, and you'll be all right. You will be all right. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. The fact that women, they ignore men. They act like they say they don't want them, and then when these men come up, they want to use these men as their come up. They want to use these men to come up in life. And and they call these men sellouts because they try to immediately shame these men, the same men they didn't want. It's the same thing that's happening with the passport bros. Like, they said that these men were unwanted and unloved, and now that these men are going away, they're attacking not just these men, but they're attacking the women that are taking these men, saying that these women are uneducated, saying that these women are poor, saying these women are desperate and needy. They can't speak English. Like it's some real terrible shit. And they just want these men so they can provide for their families. It's like it's really sad. It is really sad. Anyway, guys, that's everything I have for you here. Let me know what you think about this. That women, the same women that are putting these men down are the same ones that are hollering and screaming when other women pick them up. Let me know what you think, guys, and we'll talk about it more in the we'll talk about more in the comments. And like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, which is men walking away. And cheers.